What do I do for the background of this video? In the last Magic video, I just had payday footage, but I blurred it a bit because it wasn't important to the video. Like, what should I do? Most Magic YouTubers just have their Toxona on a blank background, kinda like this, or they show their face, which I would never do. Oh, wait, I got it! And now that it's been at least 15 seconds, I can say this as the intro joke. Fuck you, Spider-Man! So, I didn't think I would be making another video about the silly cardboard game, but this is something I am actually very passionate about, but, not for the reasons you might think. I have alluded to this a few times before, but I am actually a fan of Universes Beyond, at least conceptually, because, this is bad. Not only is there way more sets than there used to be, which is not a good thing, but now over half the sets this year are Universes Beyond. Over half. At least before, you could make the excuse of it at the very least being equal. But now there is more non-Magic the Gathering than Magic the Gathering. Again, even as someone who likes Universes Beyond, this is not good. I originally got into the game because of Universes Beyond, but I stayed because I liked the game and was captivated by the cool setting of Magic. Let me paint a picture for you so you can better understand where I am coming from as a relatively new player to Magic. A few years ago, a few of my friends that were into Magic tried to get the rest of us that were not into Magic interested in Magic so we could have a full group for Commander. We like Fallout, and one of my friends said, hey, there are these pre-made Fallout decks that you can just buy and play with, so you don't need to learn complicated stuff like deck building yet, you can just buy this and we can start playing to see if you like the game. I was a bit skeptical about quote-unquote getting into Magic because of how expensive it is, but then my friend told me that I can help you make a zombie-themed deck and then show you how to make and then print custom cards to make it a Resident Evil themed zombie deck. And this is what pushed me over the edge and got me into Magic. I like Fallout, but not as much as my friend that bought all the precons. So we had a Magic Hangout day where they taught me how to play the game to see if I even wanted to put in the effort to make 100 custom cards. I played the Caesar precon because I like the idea of having this big army, and it was the deck with the most New Vegas content, which is my favorite Fallout game. And after just a little bit of playing, I instantly knew that I would like this game. Even though the entire game was kind of just the Mothman player dominating because it's Mothman against a bunch of new players running precons, but even though I didn't do much of that game, I knew that I would like Magic. I really enjoyed using cool characters from Fallout that I loved, like Boone and the Mysterious Stranger, and then seeing my friend pull out Frank Horrigan to win, I knew that I wanted to make a Resident Evil deck to capture that same feeling, but for a franchise that I have more of a connection to. So then, after looking through a few zombie commanders, my friend made me an alright deck list for the Scarab God, the proxy that I found to be super thematic for Albert Wesker, the main antagonist of the Resident Evil series, and the best fitting character to act as a commander for a Resident Evil Zombies deck. And like, come on, Scarab God is a perfect proxy for Wesker. He is a god, not a zombie, which is fitting given that Wesker is the textbook definition of a god complex. He's a really strong guy, just having a 5/5 on the board is nothing to scoff at. He's really hard to deal with and always comes back, which is fitting, but most of all, he can take anything that's dead and add it to his zombie army, thematically similar to how he creates Ouroboros, which is a virus that is basically a combination of all the other zombie viruses throughout the series. He takes the strongest thing from anyone's graveyard and adds it to Ouroboros. And then if you have enough zombies, you win through complete global saturation, I mean chip damage. The first iteration of this deck wasn't super amazing, but it was good enough for me to have a lot of fun and figure out an infinite combo by myself in my second ever Magic game. Yeah, it's zombies, it's super easy to go infinite with, but I felt super satisfied with this play. I had a Headless Rider, an Ashnod's Altar, and a Gravecrawler, and I figured out that I can kill and loop Gravecrawler to make a bunch of zombie tokens, and then on my next turn I got a Rooftop Storm, and then made infinite zombies. I was super happy with this, and I figured it out myself, even if they all just died to farewell before I could do anything with them. But that moment is what truly made me a Magic player. To this day, my Scarab God deck is my favorite deck. The current version I have right now, I got professionally printed on a site that makes real cards, and just look at how cool these are. They have a custom back and everything. I love this deck, not because it's super amazing or anything, but because of how I built it to prioritize thematics. It is not a super optimized list for the Scarab God. There should realistically be more sources of mill, but the deck is built in a way where there are 3 viable commanders. The main one is Scarab God as Wesker, but there is also Wilhelt as Sadler, and Grimgrin as Nemesis. This deck functions well with any of these as a commander, and that is what I love about this deck. It's not super optimized for any one of them because it works well with all of them. This is what got me into Magic. Not Universes Beyond specifically, but my Universes Beyond. I love both proxying and playing this deck. My favorite things when making custom proxies like this, because I have done this for a lot more than just Resident Evil, is when I find a card that is so perfect I don't need to give it a nickname. Like, come on. If this was a real crossover, then these cards would definitely have reprints like this. Other things, like all the legendaries, are nicknamed to be other things that fit in Resident Evil, but they still hold thematic value. Like Gisa and Geralf are both humans that make zombies, so now they are Doctors William and Annette Birkin, 2 important human scientists responsible for the zombie outbreaks. But something I love about these proxy cards is when a card gets more notoriety in our playgroup as the proxied card. And 2 of my favorite examples of this are Curse of Disturbance, which I have renamed to Leon's First Day, and Army of the Damned, which is now the Raccoon City Incident. These cards aren't super great, especially Army of the Damned, but they have become so iconic to my playgroup that we see them more as these funny proxies than the real card, and I love that. There are other cards like this too, like in my Ultra Kill deck, Gisela has more of a reputation as Gabriel Apostate of Hate than Gisela herself, despite another person in our playgroup having a real Gisela in their deck. And speaking of that Ultra Kill deck, just look at how good these basic lands are. Oh, I love this deck so much. I'm probably going to also get this professionally printed the same way I did with my Wesker deck. But anyways, making these custom cards to be character from media I like is what got me into Magic. And yes, after getting into Magic, I now have an appreciation for Magic's universe and characters. I really like characters like Urza, Gonti, Alicia, and Valkavoth. But what got me into Magic in the first place was playing as characters that I already liked. I bet if you'd ask anyone who hasn't played Magic, they'd probably tell you they prefer to play as character I already like than character I might like but I'm just now seeing for the first time. So you might think that I really like Universes Beyond. It's what got me and almost all my friends into Magic, and well, I do when it wasn't this. Back when Universes Beyond was basically just precons and also like the Lord of the Rings thing as a modern-only set, I really liked it. Universes Beyond does not fit standard in my opinion, and the best thing that Universes Beyond can do is help get new players into the game. And I think it is best when it is limited to that, pre-constructed products, for Commander mostly, and secret layer drops. I have unironically referred to Magic as IP Gem, and that is because these card designs are so good and flavorful. They perfectly capture the feeling of their original IP. At least, they used to. I called Magic IP Gem because it actually took care to properly portray these outside IPs properly, instead of just Fortnite-esque key jangling, where there was no substance, only a toxic sludge of inedible slop with a shiny coat of spider-themed paint. Get it? Because paint also isn't edible. Pre-2025, if you look at these Universes Beyond cards, most of them were tied to Commander precons, which is, I think, the best way to do Universes Beyond. The thing that Universes Beyond does best is bring in new players with these outside IPs, and precons eliminate one of the most alienating things about card games, that being the need to learn deck building. With a precon, you can just buy and play straight out of the box, after you sleeve it, of course. Commander precons allow for a lot more, how do I word this, unique card designs? Something I love when looking at Universes Beyond precons is the large amount of legendary creatures that are very thematic. Cards like Karn the Betrayer, the Cyber Controller, Frank Horrigan, Yes Man, and my favorite, the Master Multiplied. These cards by themselves are not good commanders, but are still cool and iconic legends from their respective IPs and are really good in the 99. I love playing these precons and going, oh, it's that guy. And another thing I love is when Universes Beyond can make sagas. The Warhammer sagas are so cool. The Horus Heresy and the War in Heaven retell very important events from the Warhammer lore, and it's so cool seeing them in Magic. These are the types of cards that would not fit in a full standard ready set. Could you imagine drafting something like the Master Multiplied? This card is so gimmicky, even in constructed formats. And I really like these strange card designs, but they only work in products outside of main standard sets. But with Spider-Man forced to being a premium standard set, with increased prices mind you, so many of the cards in this set are just boring. I don't care if they're good, they're just boring. That feeling of uniqueness and wacky gimmicks is gone with this set. Okay, gun to your head, name one card from the set that is cool that you actually want to play with. 3, 2, 1. Most of you probably fail, because the set has so few actually interesting cards, but if you answered something like Venom, Miles Morales, or God forbid Spider-Man, you also failed, because now I have to ask, which one? The legendary creature bloat is something that has been talked about a lot with this set. And yeah, they are right. There are so many garbage nothing legendaries in this set. There are so many to keep track of, and it's not just that there's a ton of Spider-Men, there's a ton of the same Spider-Man, all of which are legendaries. Spider-Man 2099, which one? Scarlet Spider, which one? Green Goblin, which one? Doc Ock, which one? Do I need to continue? This set is so bland and uninteresting. Half the set is just alternate versions of the same character, and not in the multiverse way, in the we need a bunch of cards for different rarities for a draft, so make like 5 Peter Parkers way. This to me screams that the set should not have been a full set, let alone even a smaller set like Assassin's Creed. These transforming legendaries are the most interesting cards in the set, and they are just screaming to be commanders. And that leads into another problem with this set: no precons. In the commander-infested state of current Magic sets, especially Universes Beyond sets, need to have precons to split the card pool for standard. Without precons, every card in a set is included in standard. Cards designed for Commander have to be included in formats like Standard and Draft, which is why so many of the card designs just end up being boring generic value instead of these cool thematic references. Cards are not made for flavor, they're just made to be generic game pieces with a spider paint job. Why is Miles Morales green? He should be Izzet. His whole thing is going invisible, which is a very blue thing, and lightning stuff, which is a very red thing. He should be a cool, evasive Spellslinger Voltron thing with prowess, or something like that. Why are symbiotes and villains so bad? You introduce a new creature type that is exclusive to this set, basically, with cards that want to use this creature type, but there's not enough support to make it work. These should have just been precons only. The best way to play a symbiote deck is to just use changelings. And speaking of missed opportunities, where is Null? Wizards, where is Null? You could say that Null is more of an Avengers villain, but Null is more connected to Spider-Man than the Soul Stone is, so where is Null? Oh, and yeah, the Soul Stone. I hate this card. Not because of its design. I think as a card it's fine, but the meta design of this stupid chase card that now has to be included in every single commander deck with black. It is just objectively the best mana rock in any deck that focuses on black a lot, so not every black deck until the end of time will want to run this overpriced chase card. And it's probably never going to be reprinted because it's a Universes Beyond card, despite a Universes Within version existing, which is a different issue I will talk about later. So now, every black deck will need to grab this super expensive chase card, which is like the only card worth any value in this entire set, and it has nothing to do with Spider-Man. It's just Marvel slop. Wow guys, look, it's the Infinity Stones! It's just the One Ring again, but now there's 6 of them. I am a black player, most of all my decks have black, so I would need to get a ton of copies of this card, but I'm not paying for a single one of these overpriced pieces of cardboard, let alone like 15. And you wonder why I proxy almost everything. This chase card is the only real valuable card from this premium set that cost more than normal Magic sets, because Universes Beyond is a luxury product that people will pay for, and goddamn, they did. I have heard from a ton of people that a bunch of the Spider-Man products, like pre-release kits and bundles, were sold out at their LGS. Probably all chasing the goddamn Soulstone, because there's nothing else in this set anywhere close to as valued as this power creep forced chase card. And the worst part about this card to me isn't the card itself, it's the fact that we're gonna get more of them. And I am so scared for the value laundering crimes that the green and blue ones are gonna commit. You cannot tell me that the eventual green and blue Infinity Stones are not going to be the most absurd bullshit ever. So yeah, the Spider-Man set is the perfect example of everything wrong with Universes Beyond. Universes Beyond has moved away from easily accessible products that focus on flavor and respect for the IP, and has become key-jangling, overpriced sludge. It is worse than slop. It is sludge. I am offended that they are charging extra for this set compared to actually well-designed Magic sets like Tarkir Dragonstorm. I feel sorry for those who have never heard of FedEx. Precons are what made Universes Beyond tolerable for me, and it's what got me into Magic, and it's the best way for new players that like these IPs to get into Magic. But are you really gonna get a new player into Magic through the Spider-Man set? Commander being a separate format to Standard and Modern allows the card designers to make a lot more wacky and flavorful cards, but also allows those who don't care about the IP to not have to interact with it. And yeah, Spider-Man cards are now going to be in Modern forever. And this is still a problem that good Universes Beyond sets will suffer from. Final Fantasy was probably the best set of the year, and I don't have any connection to the IP. I have never played a Final Fantasy game, but even to me, this set was so good. The pre-release was awesome, and there's so many cool card designs, mostly from the precons, that had so many amazing legendaries for Commander. All of my friends have found at least one Commander from the set that they love. I made a funny Golbez pseudo combo deck, and once again, Imhotep the Stormlord is the best card in this deck. I just accidentally made another Necron deck that has other colors for like the 4th time. One of my friends made a hilarious Kamari deck, and this guy is so stupid and funny. He will just do other people's decks gimmicks better than they are. I went up against this playing Taval, and he just did my gimmick better than me because he had 3 of my Commander, each with Vigilance, and all of them got stronger every turn. But cards like Sephiroth, and especially Vivi, are going to exist in Modern forever, whether you like it or not. But I opened this video talking about how I like Universes Beyond, but now I'm saying it's bad? Well, outside of Commander, honestly yes. When you play Magic as in normal formats like Standard, Modern, Pioneer, Pauper, you are playing Magic, not Marvel or Avatar. I think that Universes Beyond is best in Commander, because that is what almost all the cards were designed for. Universes Beyond is best as Commander products, and also including Secret Layers where these mechanically unique cards are only ever really usable in. Are you really gonna run Deadpool in Legacy? No, these cards like the Sonic cards and the fucking PlayStation cards, these are designed to be Commanders only, really. But these cards work for Commander because of how casual and social the format is. I love using my custom Wesker deck in Commander because Commander is a fun experience with friends and not a super competitive game. We get to talk and have fun and look at cool cards, including all the cool cards that I made for my decks. Commander is an expression of fun, and I think that playing with goofy non-Magic characters adds to that. Having the Doctor Who fan battle the Fallout fan with their mechanically unique Doctor Who and Fallout cards is cool, but I don't want to see Raoul in Innistrad. Do you get what I mean? I love making custom proxies for character from media I like. Even if I never end up playing or even building the deck around them, I just love the thematics of Magic and making a deck around these characters. If it's some cool character from a thing I like, or an OC, I see making custom proxy art and then making a deck that prioritizes thematics as a sort of art form, and I want to express my creativity to my friends and see them express theirs. Turning Caesar into Emperor Palpatine and Optimus Prime into Superman were both jokes I suggested to a friend, but he went and made cool decks around these characters that he wanted to play as in Magic. And I love seeing cool stuff like this, even if it's an IP I don't really care about. I like seeing other people express their creativity and make custom proxies like this. And for those wondering how I made all these, go to cardconjurer.app, that is the site I use to make these custom cards, then load them all up in a PDF, or if you're using non-custom cards, just printing normal Magic cards, go to mtgprint.net, and then you can go print them at a FedEx. You can buy cardstock like this is what I use. You can ask a FedEx employee for help to print at the right poundage and stuff if you don't know how to do it, then cut it out and boom! I'm a huge advocate for proxying, especially given this. It's just cardboard. It doesn't need to be this expensive. I just want to play a fun game with my friends. I'm not going to spend $40 on one card when I can print a full deck of 100 cards for like a fourth of that. Marvel's Spider-Man, the Magic the Gathering expansion, is a complete and total failure on all fronts. The card designs as game pieces are just lame and boring. The card designs thematically are just key-jangling IP slop. There is no substance behind the mask of silk-woven nostalgia. Spice8rack made a fantastic video about the lack of substance thematically in this set, and more so the Through the Omen Paths Magic Online version of these cards. Basically, about how Magic originally had locations and characters inspired by and created as homages to popular media, and how Magic now is having things that inspired the first thing in the actual game now, but because of legal reasons is now having to make a universes within thing of the thing that inspired the original Magic thing, but has nothing to do with the original Magic thing.
Magic the Gathering Spider-Man presents Magic the Gathering.
This right here is the final form of Universes Beyond sludge. What originally started as fun flavor has turned into nothing more than a cash grab. The artistic intention behind homages is gone when the source material is just here. When there's no need for creativity, just IPs. When Magic is more outside IP than Magic, what's the point of being invested in Magic? I enjoy making custom proxies for cards, specifically because it is the inverse of what is happening now. There is little artistic integrity in these Omen Path cards. They almost all feel so out of place and make no sense in the world of Magic. Why is Fleam a villain? Why are spiders so important now? What are symbiotes in the world of Magic? These cards make no sense outside of the fact that they exist as poorly thought out, legally distinct Spider-Man cards. Reading these cards gives me the complete opposite feeling I have when I make these custom cards. A lot of these Omen Path cards feel like randomly generated excuses for universes within Spider-Man cards with no real connection to the vast world of Magic. I should clarify, I'm not trying to degrade the artists that worked on these cards, nor am I accusing Wizards of using AI art. I'm just saying that these cards feel out of place because they do not fit into the world of Magic, because they were not made for Magic. They were made for Spider-Man, and forced to be included into the world of Magic no matter how out of place they are. I feel pride when I'm able to have some way to make a Magic card and transform it into something else from another IP. The complete inverse effect. The lack of reprints in the Spider-Man set, I feel, is very indicative of this. We got, what, Shock? This is the closest thing to what I'm talking about. Taking something in Magic and then making it fit an outside IP. But the universes beyond precons of previous times excelled in this. Taking things like Pure Still Paladin, Martial Coup, Secure the Wastes, and making them something that fits Fallout perfectly. This is the kind of flavor that makes Universes Beyond fit into Magic. Yes, the mechanically unique cards that adapt characters into the game of Magic are cool, but what really makes these feel like Magic products are cards like these. And I love that feeling when I'm able to replicate that and make my own card like that. With all that being said, I am still somewhat excited for Universes Beyond when it comes to IPs I actually care about. Final Fantasy proved that you can make good Universes Beyond sets. Even though I have zero connection to the source material, I still really enjoyed the Final Fantasy set in both sealed formats and in constructed. Like, I haven't played Final Fantasy VII, but I think that Sephiroth is cool, so yeah, I built that Mono Black Sephiroth deck, and I actually pulled one of those Sephiroths from my pre-release. But I was more so excited to proxy Sephiroth into Virgil. Because when it comes to Commander, my favorite thing is making a deck that prioritizes thematics over anything else, and I love doing that with characters from media I like. And that includes Magic as a media I like. I had a friend that turned Terra, a Final Fantasy card that kinda just power crept Alicia, back into Alicia, because he doesn't care about Final Fantasy and likes Alicia as a character more. I don't remember what it was, but there was one commander that I wanted to build, but I didn't like the character, so I turned this Magic character into a different Magic character. At the end of the day, it's just cardboard. The art and the name of the card doesn't matter as long as the rules text is the same. So I want to express my creativity and passion for things with these fun custom proxies. As much as I like Universes Beyond sets, especially for IPs that I actually have a connection to, I get more fun trying to make these custom Magic cards and transform them into IPs that I like. That being said, I'm huffing a lot of copium here, but that unannounced Universes Beyond in March is lining up pretty good for Resident Evil 30th anniversary.